quickly, we're just going to kind of run through some charts that we traded today and just kind of point out what we saw in them and why we took these trades. So, first of all, this is ATOM, and all of this is pretty much done on the 5-minute chart. That's what I was looking at when trading. So, this one was actually coiling up here. And so I noticed this little bit of a pennant. I mean, it's not the most accurately drawn, but I was looking at this little bit of a pennant here, and then actually entered on this red candle here, which you should not do. You should wait for the actual breakout. And it's also not on the highest volume, but I was just kind of following the trend here. Took this entry and it had a breakout and a little bit of a retest here, and then it continued to break out. And this actually ran from $27 up to, it ran, 3 full deltas. These contracts went almost 100% in just a matter of an hour about. This was at 10:30 to 11:45. Yeah, so about an hour. The exit actually was around here before this line of resistance. So this was just a simple kind of bull pennant breakout. Did not exit up here, kind of let it play out as it pulled away from this 5 EMA, let it fall back down and ride it back up. And then, again, that can burn you, but for the most part, you should be scaling out at next points of resistances. So this one was a pretty simple trade. And then we have NVDA, which is a very similar trade. So this one was also done as a pennant. So you can see here, using this top trend line here and this bottom trend, you have a pennant forming here, and that is with all these candles forming a flat top here. This trend line is ascending. I can actually turn off all that, just make it a little bit quieter. And if you look at this trend line, so you have this touch here, this touch, you have this candle body perfectly touching this, so the actual wick passed through, but the body itself is touching it very nicely. And you have this breakthrough. So I actually entered again prematurely in the pennant at it was actually a 699 entry. So it was at the top of this green candle here. And the following candle popped up, and then it rode all the way up to 703. This gave contracts, I believe it was 24% profit. So this was, again, a fairly simple trade. You can see it did fall back down beneath this trend line, and it is testing it again. So we have the opportunity to play another break on NVIDIA. It just goes back acting like this breakout never happened, and now you have this trend line that's probably going to get followed. But on the daily chart, this is a very nice bull flag. So you can see here, we had a couple gaps up, bull flag, and bull flag. So hopefully this one tomorrow or Friday starts to break upward again. But that one was a fairly simple day trade as well. Now this one is actually my favorite one of the day, just because it was so wildly unexpected. So this one was, let me turn the indicators back on, and I have the anchored VWAP here. Let me get rid of all of these. Get rid of that and that. So you can see I have this right here, this anchored VWAP here. So that starts at the opening candle, and it actually, as this candle is held underneath it and this one breaks above, that was my signal for entry. So I did use this as, let me get rid of these fibs. I did use this as, okay, my original one is still there. So I used this as my resistance point, and that was like my entry. But once I saw this doji respect this anchored VWAP, you can see here, this candle respected it, this candle respected it. As this candle broke through it, it rocketed. So I took this into account, and then as it broke resistance, I figured, okay, this is my entry, and it ran from what was this 980 up to 1070. So that was a 10% move. These contracts immediately went 64, 62% in just a matter of what, less than 15 minutes. So this one was a fairly simple resistance trade, and you can see as it was breaking out, this massive spike in volume. So the opening candle had almost the equivalent of this candle here. So there was already good volume in the stock for the morning. And just as it broke out on volume, it just carried it up. This was actually an exit, I believe, was around here, and then carried them up through here on a smaller position. So after that happened, it was fairly flat for the rest of the day. Not sure we're going to get much movement out of this for the next few days, but it was a seriously awesome trade. I'm really happy with this one. And really quick, I just want to follow up on Socket. So this one is one of the stocks that I had in my previous videos for the June watch list. I'm just going to follow up with this. So you can see this was the setup that we had. This is the target that we have. It's $28. And Socket was at $18, I believe, when we first looked at this. And so for the people who have taken this, because this is now past our entry price, our entry was, here, it's going to take too long to find it, but my entry price was about right here, I believe, 1980, $20. So we're actually up over 50% on these contracts already. And I just expect this to continue up. We might have a couple down days, but for the most part, this should be a pretty straight shot upwards to the $28 area, which is going to be right up here. So I'm already really happy with this trade. It seems to be going pretty well. And you can see in here, we've just had these crazy opens with some sell-offs. And again, crazy open, and this one held it. So this one sold off a little bit in the end of the day. So I'm hoping on tomorrow, this one maybe it drops a little bit lower. Let's see if it's what it's done after hours. So yeah, it has dropped a little bit lower. It's at $20 now. And I'm hoping that we gap down a little bit just to give ourselves a little bit of a reset, and then work our way back up and start gapping up higher. So yeah, I just wanted to run through a couple quick trades. Again, this one, SPY, I alerted puts on this one on the break of this resistance line, which was, you can see we have all this liquidity zone. We have all these candles right here. 1, 2, we have these two candles reaching down. And then as it's breaking this one, this is where the put signal went out, and it just immediately started dropping. So that went from 422.15 all the way down to 421.41, which doesn't seem like a lot, but on some 0-day contracts, this is a very serious payout. So yeah, pretty solid trades today. I was happy with them. They seem to all have gone at least, 15 to 100%. So just wanted to run through and quickly show everybody kind of what setups I was looking at and the reasons why I took the trades. Again, notice down here the volume spike as it was breaking down. It was breaking down on volume, which means there was people just dumping shares. So another very important thing to pay attention to is the volume on all breakouts. That is crucial.